Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this breakout session of the second MAP Next Gen CEO Web Conference 2021. I am Dr. Karen REMO, the CEO and co-founder of New Perspective Media Group and also the moderator for this session. This is, by the way, the third session of the track number one, the good money. This is the last of this track, so definitely please stay in tune. Please settle down carefully. We will now begin our program. Some reminders before we proceed. As participants for this breakout session, you're automatically muted and your camera or video is also switched off. Audience in the EcoHub platform will remain muted. However, you're encouraged to submit your questions through the chat box. Due to time limitations, we may not be able to have all your questions answered live. Lastly, for our audience, you will only be able to see the speaker and the moderator and will not be able to view the other participants. In line with the MAP policy, we will dispense with a lengthy introduction of our speaker. Our speaker for this session will share insightful views on how next-gen CEOs in his industry should lead their businesses to be innovatively profitable, socially responsible, and environmentally respectful. I would like to remind our speaker that you are given 20 minutes for your presentation. May I now call on our speaker for this session, the good money. Let us all welcome, my honor to present the President and CEO of Pru Life UK, Mr. ENG TENG WONG.
Mabuhay and good afternoon to the audience in the Philippines and in Asia, and for the rest of the world, I wish you good morning. First of all, thank you, the Management Association of the Philippines in the Philippines, for the invitation. I'm blessed and truly delighted to be here. Today, I would like to actually share with you my experience in terms of doing well by doing good, and specifically in terms of growing the market in terms of business for good. I'm ENG TENG, currently based in Bonifacio Global City here in Manila. I'm a Gen X. I'm still below 50 years old. So that's just a little bit about me. And just to add a little bit more, I started as a Pascal programmer, COBOL programmer, that was in 1995. Fast forward today, I'm blessed to be supported by so many wonderful colleagues today, and also the largest and strongest agency workforce in the Philippines, and coupled with the technology that we have in terms of what we call the AI-powered all-in-one app that allows users and empowers them to become healthier and wealthier. So the topic is really about health and how we do good. And I believe health is the ultimate wealth. So let me begin by sharing the first slide that I will actually share with you. My current role in the Philippines is the President and CEO of Pru Life UK. We are here in the Philippines for over 25 years. Recently, we celebrated our silver anniversary, and we are leading the market in terms of new business that we are able to bring in. And thanks to the largest, strongest, and youngest agency workforce that we have, as alluded earlier, empowered by our recently launched all-in-one AI-powered app called Pulse by Pru Life UK. We first debuted this app in February last year and has since really helped many Filipinos to have accessible and affordable healthcare. And in terms of brand, that has also been further enhanced, and our vision is really to grow 10x forward. And my dream when I landed here on 16 October is really to grow the number of customers by 10x. And 10x, by that I mean, I would like to really see many more Filipinos locally and abroad to be blessed, right? Not just by the product offerings that we provide, but also really play up really well to help the Philippines increasing financial awareness, financial literacy, and financial inclusion. And it's not necessarily just insurance protection in terms of life and health insurance, but also investment, and hopefully soon across various different industries like banking, pharmaceutical, healthcare, of course, and etc. And we are aspiring to provide unmatched customer experience through the combination of human workforce and also the digital app that we have actually launched. And just over 1.5 years, we have experienced 6 million user downloads, and that is really wonderful. And in 2021, based on data from Google, in fact, I just got it, across Asia, we are ranked #1 in terms of download. That actually is in the category of health and lifestyle. And on top of that, we have actually rolled out close to 40 different bite-sized products that is really designed based on customer centricity. And that covers both protection, not just the traditional term life insurance, but also one of the most interesting products I personally find myself that we offer in the Philippines is really climate-related diseases. For example, dengue, typhoid, measles, and some of these are really what we call the infectious diseases that we can prevent if we can do the right thing. And on top of that, we have also recently launched what we call Wealth at Pulse that provides bite-sized, curated contents in the space of wealth for our users. And that completes at least what I call the first logical set of offerings for our customers and also consumers to empower them to become healthier and wealthier. Next slide. And the point here is really about making it affordable and accessible by Filipinos across the Philippines and also around the world. Making health and wealth protection affordable is something that is also in line with what we have planned out and accelerate forward in terms of our ambition and dream, especially in the ESG space. And of course, one thing that touches my heart is really about serving the underserved communities. And based on the data that we can see, out of the 6 million downloads, about 70% of these users are actually new to us. And in this case, this is really about widening the reach of all these users. And if I plot that users across the Philippines, we have covered at least close to 80% if I look at just the map where the users are using Pulse currently. And on top of that, Pulse is not just an app, it's really a platform that allows us to scale and grow at pace. And in this case, it wouldn't have been possible without close collaboration and partnership with government agency, different industry players, and also communities. And very soon, hopefully in the next 2 months, we'll be able to announce something exciting for the market in the Philippines, partnering with an equally ambitious and also digital organization that will really, hopefully, bring financial inclusion to the next level across the Philippines. And on top of that, it's not just about growing customers, it's really also about fulfilling the dream and vision of the Insurance Commission in terms of raising the financial awareness and literacy. And that's what we are really up to, right? So with at least basic knowledge in terms of financial literacy that allows people to start planning wealth early in their life. But of all this, for me being a Gen X, right, wealth at my age is secondary compared to health. And I would like to actually challenge the audience here, right? Start investing in health early, because by the time you reach a certain age, no amount of investment through financial investment can actually improve the health if we haven't been really caring and living ourselves, specifically in terms of health. So next slide, please. All right, so how do we actually become a good steward in terms of making sure that we also play a role right, in climate change, and especially in terms of the impact that we are feeling. And in fact, yesterday, Prudential, right, Group, and specifically Pru Life UK, the subsidiary of Prudential Group, or Prudential PLC, sponsored and launched a paper that really talks about how climate change has really impacted not just the Philippines, but the world, and where the opportunities lies for us in terms of making available climate-related products that we can actually bless Filipinos in this market, like earlier I talked about in terms of dengue, in terms of typhoid, measles, and so on. And one of the things I learned from the session yesterday was that, in fact, heart diseases are closely related to climate, and heat stroke, heat exhaustion is actually caused by the temperature increase as we experience. So our commitment is actually to continuously listen to our customers, take their feedback and their input for us to design, or rather I'd say co-design the solutions that really meet their needs, making it available through our platform, and not just through our platform, but also through the largest and youngest agency workforce, providing the additional professional value-added advice on top of the bite-sized products that we can actually provide across the Philippines. Next slide, please. And in the space of building up our social capital, we have been doing a lot of education, especially transforming the kind of delivery of education in a cartoon-like caching that really blessed so many students across the Philippines, not just students, but teachers and young kids as young as maybe even 5 years old, as they start learning how to save for rainy days. And for the older children, we expose them to investment as well. And on top of that, we also contributed to safety awareness, road safety, for example. And also we have been also providing coverage to some organizations. Some of these are one-off, right? Hospitals, for example, to ensure that I think we play our role building up social capital, contributing back to the society, to the communities. And this year alone, right, we continue our effort in terms of providing complementary coverage, protecting against COVID-19. And just to share some data, right, I think we have protected the life of over 200, at least Filipinos, since we launched this COVID-19 complementary protection. So we want to continue to invest back to the in the community as we grow. And that is what I meant by grow for good. And this is good money, good health for the people. Next slide, please. And I want to actually put out a clarion call to all of you, right, listening in. Pru Life would like to actually invite you to join us in this journey forward in every little way that we can do, in terms of equipping ourselves with more financial knowledge, investing more in health, not just by talking, but also by following the advice. One of the things that I would like to actually really share with you is really, as you use Pulse app, one of the first feature that I was glued to, and today I'm still using it, is actually what we call the AI health check or AI symptom checker as well, right? That allows me to really know myself much more than perhaps any of the doctors who haven't actually seen me before. And by providing and sharing that information with the doctor, they can then provide the second level of assessment regarding my health. And in fact, based on specific recommendation of the app highlighting which are the areas considered red flags, I have intentionally, personally, over the last 2 years, been doing regular exercise to address the health condition that I have. And today, I'm glad that I'm actually managing it well. So on that note, it's really about health being the ultimate wealth. Invest in health early so that you have the right mind, right healthy body to then acquire the right knowledge and then grow wealthier. So on that note, I really want to actually invite all of you to join us in our journey forward so that we can actually help many, many people, be they family members, friends, or even communities, to be healthier and wealthier, helping them specifically get the most out of life. So thank you for listening, and I'm happy to actually have further conversations based on questions that you may have in your mind. Thank you for listening.
Well, thank you so much, Eng Teng, for that very insightful presentation. Yes. Um, I would like to start the questions. We have a lot of questions here now from the audience. First, before the questions, congratulations for the 25th anniversary.
Thank
And
you.
also for the recent appointment. There's a lot of things happening there, and we're excited to hear about the plans. So let's start with the plans. You plan to grow the company 10 times by 2025. Can you expound on that growth? Is it the number of policies, the volume of premiums, the number of sellers? How do you define that growth?
All right, we actually continuously focus on customers, right? So that's the measure that we are looking at in terms of growing customers at scale and at speed. So the 10x is actually referring to the base customer that we want to actually grow from X today to Y being 10x.
Okay, would you be able to share us the number?
At this moment, probably no, but we are actually happy to share that based on the combined the strength that we have in terms of largest and youngest and strongest agency workforce with the technology that we have, Pulse being the app, AI-powered app, and also the platform. We are actually moving ahead of that trajectory. So that's
Okay.
that's what I'd like to share. Yeah.
Okay. Now, the 6,000 users that you have mentioned, the downloads, is it for 2021?
Yeah, actually it's 6 million, so it's
Sorry,
1,000
sorry.
times more. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah,
three zeros were
yeah,
missing.
yeah.
Sorry for that. So,
We launched in February 2020. So it's just over a span of 1.5 years, we have actually grown to this level. And today, as we speak, we are blessed because more and more users are coming on board with more awareness. And also, I must thank our media partners as well in terms of really highlighting some of the interesting features, right? For example, if you can even take a selfie and you get a view what your wrinkle index is. For me, my wrinkle index is definitely not as good, but what I'm actually happy with, the same selfie can actually tell me by my BMI score whether I'm actually still within the healthy BMI range. So that's simple test that we can even do with the app without having to stand on a weighing scale and start taking out calculator to calculate the BMI.
brilliant. And that 6 million downloads, are they from existing customers? Or are they new ones?
Yeah, earlier in my short presentation, I mentioned that it's about 70% of these users are new to ProLife UK. So it's
Okay.
exciting because then we are really reaching out to hopefully I can say many different corners across the Philippines, right? Or probably more aptly, all the different islands across the archipelago of the Philippines.
All right. I mean, apart from that wrinkle index that I'd love to try, you have 154 wealth features on the app. Um, do we have to be a subscriber, a customer of Pru Life to be able to access this feature?
Okay, yeah, the app is free for download. The majority of features are actually free. It comes complimentary. However, if you need to actually go even more advanced to have what I call a collection of very useful features pertinent to your profile, then you get the subscription. Then you will be able to have access to this, what I call the next tier of the features, right? For example, you can get access virtually to a dietitian to help you. So if you are a cyclist or enthusiast, right, then you can actually just have a quick conversation with your dietitian before you start biking, right? For example, one thing I learned from a bike enthusiast is that, besides just eating banana and having some water, right, a call with the dietitian will help because that will actually help him or her have the right stamina to finish the race and come out even healthier.
Wow, that's very, very interesting. We'll definitely download this and try it for ourselves. A question from the audience, Angtang. Are
Sure.
customers rewarded financially if Pulse monitors that your health is improving? For example, if the Pulse sees that I am lowering my BMI, does my premium go down?
At this moment, we are not tapping on this data yet because we are making sure that we don't have what we call unnecessary attention that we are using the user data. But what we do aspire to do is yes, at some point maybe in the next few years, we upfront with the consent of the customer, we want to actually revolutionize the way we do underwriting, we do the assessment. So for example, if you are actually having the right BMI and we see you as being active and so on, we may at some point reconsider the way we ask the questions, so that it's easier to fill and complete, and without having to ask lengthy questions. And with some kind of self-declaration, we may just take your word as good. Of course, based on the data that you share with us and consent in the app, we will proceed. In fact, we are already doing some what I call simple bite-sized products today that allows customer to purchase with just 2-3 clicks without having to do long form filling, and it's online real time.
You know what? Even here in Dubai, for example, on vehicle insurance, if you're good in driving, you don't have any fines or you don't have any accidents, we get point systems here. And
Right.
it actually lowers the premium for the next one, or sometimes there's a rebate. In my case, I haven't had any fines for the last 2 years, so my premium has definitely gone down. So there's point system, there's a rebate. Is that another thing we can do on the health insurance, like a reward point system?
Certainly, we look into that. And in today, of course, some of the products that we already have what we call no claim bonus. So meaning, if you continue to stay healthy, there's some kind of bonus tied to that. Not all policies, some of them, right? But increasingly, of course, we are looking into rewarding customers who continuously stay healthier. And that also open up the other aspects of opportunity. For example, there could be people who are actually at the borderline of being diabetic. However, if you maintain your lifestyle, you keep your sugar level under control, we will then be able to actually provide the kind of coverage. And at the same time, for example, with the subscription that you have, and based on the usage data you consent us to actually have, then hopefully we don't need to ask you for reconfirmation with lengthy form filling again. We will say, okay, this customer is good, healthy, active, and then because we have the consent to use the data, then we say, okay, your renewal is straightforward. If you want to continue, just click OK, for example. Then you will be able to renew your coverage without the hassle of the traditional way of doing business.
Great. Eng Teng, can you tell us more about the demographic profile of insurance consumers in the Philippines right now? The age bracket, the gender, and if you could expound on that, please.
Right. Maybe let me just touch on our agency workforce just to share a little bit, and then I touch on the customer. Right. Today, over 80%, or maybe even 85 now, our agency workforce comprising about 35,000 agents across the Philippines. They are in the category of millennials and centennials. So it's Gen Y and Gen Z, of course, Gen X as well, some of them. So that's the nature of the people joining ProLife UK, right? And our customer base is also getting younger and younger, right? The bulk of the customers, especially the new ones, they are actually, again, in the category of millennials and centennials, right? Because the same peer group tend to attract each other. And the technology in terms of familiarity, this Gen Y, Gen Z, they're very, very good at these devices and tools without having to be taught. They are also more courageous to try new things. And because of the experience that we provide in terms of bite-sized product and with just probably 2-3 clicks, you can then just get the coverage you need. So that's the kind of experience that we are providing today, attracting the younger segment of customers to join us.
Okay, so in terms of demography of your customers, I mean, do you have your sales force are XYZ? What about for the customers? Most of your customers are of what bracket of age?
Yeah, I would say the fastest growing customer segment is actually between 25 and 40.
Okay.
So that's what I can share. Yeah.
Male or female?
I think the female has slightly more than males. Yes, that's what we can actually see. And nowadays is really about, if you go up the age bracket that I shared. One other phenomenon that we see is that parents tend to also buy protection for their children early, right? Because they know that this is actually good for the children. And of course, with the pandemic, hopefully it will be soon over, or at least be more under control. The awareness of people, right, generally across, not just in the Philippines, I dare to say maybe across the world, right, the value of protection has also gone up. People are also more ready to actually invest little bit of money to get some level of coverage, so that you have peace of mind, right, just in case the unfortunate incident happen.
Okay. I mean, before I go on to more questions here from the audience, I'll just go back and close, the 10 time, the 10x goals that you have. What will be the drivers of growth, and how are you going to attain that? I mean, the technology is one of them. Are there any other things that you're looking at to grow that
Yeah,
business?
right. Without sharing too much of perhaps what I call the strategy, but let me just share some high level pointers. One, I think, is really about us continuously grow our agency workforce, investing in what works for us. And then the technology platform, since it's already becoming a platform, we are then able to invite like-minded partners, right, who are focusing on helping customers to become healthier and wealthier, to join us, right? This is really an exciting place. And when I joined the conference a little bit earlier, I think Ari was sharing about the API, right? That is the right way to connect with many like-minded partners, providing seamless experience for at least the customer segment that we are targeting. And if it is hassle-free, seamless, that allows the pace to take place. And today, I think one interesting fact that I'd like to share globally, right, the number of mobile phones across the world is actually more than the number of toothbrushes across the world. So imagine, right? So that's the kind of potential. So if we do look at some of the mega trends, right, some development will continue, some may slow down, but we then need to be acutely aware where the opportunities lies, and be a bit courageous to try, to launch, learn based on customer feedback, and improve. Whoever that are actually doing it faster in terms of execution, and be ready to fail and learn, recover fast and learn, likely you will have a better chance to succeed.
Yeah, definitely. API is so seamless. Every competition becomes collaborators. Like,
Yeah.
and you just increase the collaboration more and more. Question here from the audience. Oh, this is something related to your appointment. What leadership style do you plan to introduce in Pru Life UK? And was it different when you were still rising through the ranks?
All right, it's a very good question. I had my own CEO town hall last week internally within the company. Right, first part of my vision is really customer. Right, not far behind, but it's all within the collective. I would say part of that vision is really people. Right. So my leadership style is very much people oriented, very inclusive, and of course, I appreciate candid and constructive feedback. As a team, we want to grow. There's no even physical or virtual borders, no silos. So that's the kind of leadership that I like to actually infuse in the organization. But ultimately, all this leadership boils down to what I call culture. Culture being ready to embrace new and better ways of working, collaboration across different entities of Pru, not just within the Philippines, drawing the strength from the group, and also sharing what we do better in other countries. Just like me, as I share, I also learn how I can do better, right? Blessing different people, different segments of customers that we might have missed out. So the idea generation is also important. And one thing I learned in my career as I grew, I started as a programmer. Today, I'm blessed to be able to help steer the organization culturally towards one direction. That is really to bless many, many, many more Filipinos. And I hope that with that kind of vision, it resonates with people, with colleagues, right? And I adopt open policy to my office so people can come and see me. Or now, because of the pandemic, I'm just a phone call away, right? Or a message away. So that's very much about me.
Sure. Very nice. I mean, it's a 360-degree going back, I remember COBOL 1980s, Pascal. And then now, of course, we're back to the technology, the heart of the growth area right now. Regarding this very topic, one related question. is, as a good next gen CEO, how do we separate how far we use AI and balance the combination of keeping the human workforce? Because many in the workforce get scared when they hear AI because they think their jobs are going to be in trouble.
Right. This is my personal view. A lot of people tend to talk AI and they continue to enjoy talking. But in real sense today, AI is not anywhere near human capability. And that's really about how human can actually tap on AI to handle what I call repetitive job that has certain patterns that can be actually easily handled. And it's not just about one AI got to talk to another AI to ensure that we know exactly the right customer. So ultimately, AI consumes a lot of data, but how do we interpret the data right? And whether the AI has what I call feedback loop. So in summary, there are still plenty of opportunity because I think the best ever technology is still developed by human beings. So we are definitely still one up. So if I may draw just a quotation from Jack Ma, which I actually draw inspiration, not exactly the quotation, but you see, this is where he said something like this: human actually design AI, not the other way around. Not exact word, but that's the interpretation I get away in me. And in short, we have plenty of opportunities, but to learn AI, I think is good. At least we are having the basic knowledge of AI. And if that is actually your area of passion, then you can further your knowledge in that space. And for me, it's really about how to make sure that whatever technology we use, whether it's AI or some people just call it simple chatbot, as long as it helps solve problems in this real world, then that is useful. And one last point to share: AI also needs to be ethical, just like human beings. When the AI is not ethical, then it is actually not something that we want to actually adopt.
Good, good. What are the claims level over the last 18 months? Did you see an increase in claims?
Right? I would say generally across, because of the pandemic, I talk more about the consumer behavior first, then I go to claims, right? Because majority of us, let's say in the Philippines, and I believe in other part of the world, especially Southeast Asia, I'm most familiar with, either lockdowns or quarantines happen. So people movement have been really restricted, some almost to zero. Children stay at home, they don't mingle around, they don't get so often sicknesses that are more common, for example, flu. Hygiene level has actually gone up, right, across different ages, right? A lot of health protocols have been rolled out. Majority of people, I tend to believe, they follow one way or another. So with this combination of actual activities happening, we see that generally health not related to COVID-19 have been basically, compared to last year or the year even before, is on the decline because generally people are more health conscious. Of course, at the same time, COVID-19 cases have gone up. We have some customers, unfortunately, have also basically had that illness, so we paid some claims. But overall, I would say it's quite flat in terms of all the good practices. And we hope that, in fact, drawing positive light from this experience, the world hopefully becomes healthier, including environment. I see many fewer, very few flights until probably a month ago in our skies, right? That actually is good for Mother Earth because the pollution has reduced. And with the reduction of pollution, those illnesses related to pollutions have also come down.
Well, that's a relief to know that actually says there's been a balancing out because of the increased
That's
hygienic
correct.
awareness of the customers for that. I'll just go
That's
back a little bit on the demographics. So you mentioned your target is mostly 25 to 40 years old. Is that because the older generation tend to, or what is the reason why this demographic is more inclined to getting insurance than the older generation?
right, right. This age group, they tend to be more tech savvy, ready to embrace new ways of working, right? Today, for example, the large majority of workforce, I believe, they still work wherever they want, right? Or wherever they are. Of course, the largest group probably is still at home, right? So with mobility and with Wi-Fi, people really just don't want to be constrained in any particular location. Jobs are now basically delivered, and coupled with, for example, delivery service or courier service, you can buy almost anything, just as if you are buying it from a shop, right? But from a virtual shop. And these are the people who are actually, you see, if you look at just this segment of workers, they're all in this age group, right? The real economy, if you ask me, the gig economy is powered by this age group. And because they are also more tech savvy, ready to actually try new things, their adoption is basically ahead of the other age group. The younger group, sometimes they may not be able to afford the device, or maybe the parents or grandparents may control the purse string, not giving them the device just yet, although occasionally they may get. And the older group, some of them may take longer to be comfortable with the technology. Some of our customers still go to our branches, although we want to continue to actually provide more awareness to them. Certain things that you can do just by using the phone. And today, for example, our customer can actually find out when is their policy premium due date by just having a little chat with the chatbot within the app.
That's
So
amazing.
that's the main, I would say, set of reasons.
Sure, sure. And what are the challenges that your industry is facing right now?
All right, I think there are a number of them, but let me touch on two. One is actually, again, the lack of awareness in terms of financial literacy, right? And perhaps also some perceptions that have been actually brewing for the past many years. From where I came from, a country called Malaysia, right? The health and life insurance penetration in Malaysia, at this moment, I believe is around 60%, versus in the Philippines, it's probably 2% or just less, slightly less than that. So the awareness is important, right? And not just awareness, you need to actually then do one more step. Try out bite-sized solution, easy to buy. Then you have some coverage. As you feel the benefits, right? As you see your friends enjoying the benefits, good things, then you share. That will actually raise the penetration rate, right? And the other thing, start early. Building up knowledge, health is important. When I was actually 25 years old, that was many, many years ago, right? I thought that I could live forever, not having to worry about insurance. Only when my sister forced me to buy insurance, then I bought. But today, for me, I have actually adopted an open mind. I have changed, I've transformed. I bought insurance for my children, even before they were born. There are today products from what we call cradle to grave, or from womb to tomb. Even, for example, in the second trimester onwards, yeah, during pregnancy, you can actually start buying products. And this is where I think the collective strength and expertise of colleagues, talents across Prudential, we can actually then bring to different markets to bless the people, to bless the community, so that we start early. And insurance, one more thing, is really about for healthy people. When you are too ill, it's difficult for us to actually even cover you, to be fair, for the balance of the healthy group of people. So start early, start early.
That's very interesting because we see that as well, Ang Teng. So I'm based here in Dubai, and so we cater to Middle Eastern overseas Filipinos, and so like more than 10 million overseas Filipinos, and less than 5% actually regularly save or even think of investing. But we were able to change the mindset over the last 10 years in terms of financial literacy, and that's really the key, is to change the mindset, because when you change the mind, so it carries on to become a habit. When you mentioned the word bite size, what do you mean by that?
That means it's very light in terms of, for example, light in the form of easy to understand, simple to actually purchase, and the coverage is good, pertinent to the profile of the customer, and also is affordable, right? I give you an example, right? For, let's say, 100 peso a month, you can buy an insurance policy. It could be, for example, personal accident, or it could be a simple infectious disease, let's say dengue. A few clicks, you can get the purchase done, and you can see all the details within the same app without leaving your phone. And for example, if you want to actually then even unfortunately, if you do need to claim, then you can actually use the app to submit, and then you get the claims. So it's really
Yeah.
that's what we call all in one.
As very interesting, like so affordable, easy to understand, and doable.
Yes,
I
that's
think
right.
last two questions here. The second to the last is about the claims, because a lot of the people actually believe now that a lot of people think that the business model of insurance is make it easy to get the premium, get it hard to actually claim it. How is the insurance industry ensuring that this becomes easier, much customer friendly for people who need it? Because when you get to need it, it's definitely something that you don't expect when it
Right.
happens.
Right. Okay. This is where you see upfront when we design a product or solution, we put customer first, right? And then that's at the heart of everything we do, right? Not just about selling something that's according to their need, but the whole experience in terms of fulfilling our promises to the customer. So when we say that, this is actually the benefit for you when you are actually claiming for these benefits, of course, based on the checks that we do, if you fulfill those checks, then the claims will be paid. And today we are seeing the real experience in the form of claims paid within less than a day, right? Of course, for some of the more, I would say, larger claims, there are more checks that will need to be done or certain documents that we need to cite. However, for example, if it's personal accident, somebody has actually unfortunately met with an accident, you take a photo, and then there's a way for us to verify digitally, we will just pay the claims, right? Without having to ask further questions, because the amount, number one, is really commensurate with the coverage that the customer has purchased from us.
Okay, so last question, Engteng. What would be your advice for the next gen CEOs who are listening to you right now on how to grow their company and face the disruptions happening in today's world?
I think personally for me, it's really lifelong learning, right? There's no age too young for anyone to want to be a CEO. But best for me, as I dabble in the last 8 years in the insurance industry, insurance industry is actually a good place also to be a CEO, meaning a CEO as the boss of your own business. A lot of our agency leaders or branch managers, they are basically running their own business, right? In the form that Pru Life UK, we are providing support, we are providing products for them to actually engage people, to protect the life of these people, to save lives. And then that's how the more they do, leveraging the technology and widening the reach, the more business they can get. And it almost like, I learned something very interesting in my past 26 years of experience. I get to actually help and save life at the same time I get paid. That's the kind
Definitely.
of CEO, right? If you think that is up your alley, it's not always about fintech, health tech, and so on. But in the real world, human combined with technology, you can be CEO in another way. And some of these people are really doing very well. And God bless everybody
Great,
in the
great.
industry.
Yes, so that really is a purpose-led vision and also implementation of your vision. Thank you so much, Engteng, for a wonderful presentation and insightful Q&A. That concludes our breakout session, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to hear valuable insights from our speakers who are truly breaking grounds in their respective fields. It's now time to go back to our main stage.